Don't you hate him?
If Brock Lesnar were made out of spare ribs, if Brock Lesnar were made out of ribs, would you spare him? I know I would.
I know I would. I go back for seconds, wash it down with an ice cold Budweiser.
Because Miller Lite doesn't pay him.
Miller Lite doesn't. I'm sure Coors Light because Miller Lite doesn't pay me.
My favorite wrestler is Triple H. It's like the king of wrestlers.
He's like the king of wrestlers.
Why you gotta save this for the show? We have to save this.
Stop yelling.
Save this for the show.
Triple H is my favorite wrestler. He is the king of games.
He's the king of wrestlers.
The king of wrestlers.
Save it for the show. We'll open the show with this.
He's the king of wrestlers.
We'll open the show with that.
Ooh, we got to weigh in on NXT tonight.
I haven't seen
the match that none of us said Joe was going to win. Nobody said Samoa Joe was going to win.
Samoa Joe won? I would have said he would have won. The Samoans are
Samoans. Those Samoans.
Samoans are notoriously wrestler centric. Oh, that was a vape. Is that a vape thing? That'd be a horrible vape thing.
Damn it, I need to start vaping.
No, you don't.
Why? I smoke cigarettes. Smoke too many.
Don't you know? Smoke a cigarette.
Yeah, that was a vape, and I was like, that could just be a horrible idea if I was.
Just turn it off!
A vape pen that is also a bottle opener.
I thought the other end was the vape. It was a vape for some reason. I thought the tapered end.
That's how he has to bring his vape.
I'm always wrong. Yeah.
Well, you know, she can give us a bathroom skill that she got at the dollar store. We're supposed to kiss her ass.
She was so mad that it was like a couple of years ago.
So, Jay, what do you go by in this? You're Jason Wayne?
I'm Jason Wayne. That is my stage name. That is my...
This is your
name of names.
On demand, your radio name.
Our parents are tricky.
So Sarah gonna get in trouble if someone searches for who you are.
Exactly. I'm gonna be a man of mystery.
Yeah, they only gave you like a season.
I'm gonna reveal your true name, Thomas Wayne.
It's the old Joe Mail shuffle.
To be fair, Joey did that. I'm my grandma.
I'm sure she got it from your grandma.
What? Oh, so the live feed is...
We're live. Are we live? The peanut gallery is like for live. Your 3 fans want to know. I'm guessing no, seeing as there's a lot of dead air.
Good.
Dead air.
Shut it up, you!
Shut it up, you!
Shut it up, B.
Shut it up, you! He's trying to...
Was it eat the Brock Lesnar if he were made of spares?
I need to be kicked in the face.
Huh?
I told everyone.
I'm doing that.
Any minute now.
I really want to get.
I just need to
Or
test something.
Okay.
It's taking way too long to check because the stream is like a minute behind.
So, the live stream's going to be...
Right now it's live, but I've muted all our mics.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, now
Well, that's
someone.
not that bad. As long as the recording's okay. The recording's primary is number one. Recording's what matters most. Live episode, that's a fun little...
And help.
Still hearing something.
Is it this mic?
Alright, so it's not.
Is it my butt mic?
Yeah, we'll be over there at 10.
People say, let's get a sandwich or something.
People say.
No, we'll be there at 10 because it's a little closer for us.
Chicken, big fresh focaccia, and hand sliced avocado. There's nothing.
Sounds good.
There's something about
Is that okay? How long what?
There's nothing.
Sounds good.
There's something about
Is that okay? How long what?
There's nothing.
Sounds good.
There's something about it.
farmer's strength. Ain't nobody man enough to feel the pain. And you could be next. You better give respect. Cause ain't nobody breaking this redneck. No, they don't want none. No, they don't want none. They don't want none. No, they don't want none. They don't want none. No, they don't want none. They looking scared. No, they don't really want none. And I'm a Mack truck. Don't get run over. We some country boys working overtime, boys. Kings of the South. We never had nothing. Blue collar boys do it with their hands muddy. No, they don't want none. Oh, they don't want none. They don't want none. No, they don't want none. They don't want none. No, they don't want none. They looking scared. No, they don't really want none. No, they don't want none. Oh, they don't want none. They don't want none. No, they don't want none. They don't want none. No, they don't want none. They looking scared. No, they don't really want none. We some southern boys with the farmer strength. Ain't nobody man enough to feel the pain. And you could be next. You better give respect. Cause ain't nobody breaking this redneck. No, they don't want none. No, they don't want none. They don't want none. No, they don't.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. It is Friday, November 25th, and you're listening to the Gimmick Table. Jay, you're not unmuted yet.
Gobble, gobble.
There you go.
Gobble, gobble.
Gobble, gobble, everybody.
Episode 35. We are live on YouTube once again.
Oh, now this is on YouTube now, right?
Yeah, but there's no video going on.
No.
YouTube,
Can't
Facebook, we're live all over, right?
It's true. We're live all
Cannot
over the
see
internet.
us being so pretty for
It's
the.
our...
If you are in Shanghai, if you are in Bangkok, you could be listening to us technically right now. Potentially, yeah.
Potentially.
It's our livest episode ever.
There you go.
Post Thanksgiving party.
I am your host, Andrew Wallenberg. I am joined by my esteemed co-host, Jason Wayne. As usual.
Good evening.
However, Ryan Wood is not here.
Sup.
We're live.
There he is.
Yeah, it is a peanut gallery.
We're having a little bit of a Thanksgiving
Shindig.
party here, and so there'll be some background stuff. But we are joined by two guests today.
Guests.
We got Nick from Boston, friend of the podcast.
Yes. Hi. How are you guys?
You are very loud. That's how you're doing.
Oh, that's
You guys, your setting is good. You just talk.
I don't have to
somewhere.
lean in?
You don't have
Okay.
to lean in.
You're-
All right, awesome.
You guys are all queued up, so you just sit where you are as if it were a normal conversation.
Thank you, Jay.
With
And-
normal human beings.
How was your
okay?
Thanksgiving?
How was my thing? Well, let Andrew ask.
Well,
we have to introduce our newest guy.
I mean, you could answer. How was your Thanksgiving? I want to know.
It was fine, but I was asking you guys. But it was great. No, it was wonderful.
Good. We're joined by somebody else this evening. First-time participant, first-time panelist, first-time listener.
First time
I've listened before.
You know we do this.
I know you do this. I'm aware of the situation.
He's the first time, long time. My former backyard wrestling manager,
Mine too.
who turned heel on me outside of these hallowed walls, right in this backyard of this esteemed studio.
He managed me technically too.
He managed you.
Technically, yes.
The manager.
I manage them, everyone.
The manager of champions.
Very first EBW I participated in. You
He's
managed me,
the Paul Heyman of EBW.
He was my first. Okay, I was his first. I was the first Dr. Jerkenstein guy.
Okay, is that how you want to be known on here?
Dr. Jerkenstein is in the
Good
house.
evening, all you funky Neanderthals. How are you?
There it is. Right.
There we have it. Thanks for listening, you guys. We got a lot of stuff to talk about.
Do we have a
this
link
week.
that we're sharing with everybody right now?
Yeah, it's
online?
it's shared to the Facebook page.
Oh, it's on right now. You put it up now.
Yes.
All right, I'm gonna get everyone
This is a mess of an episode unless we get into something. So
yeah,
we have a lot of stuff to talk about.
we have a live studio audience.
They're playing Fibbage or
The
something. like
muckety
that.
mucks over there are playing.
We're live. We're live. We are live.
Those are girls. There's ladies.
There are girls here.
Those are females.
You guys got to stop yelling. You really got to stop yelling.
There's proof.
Those are females. We have females in the house. All right. So we're good.
Survivor Series was this past weekend. NXT TakeOver was this past weekend. Did everyone here watch that besides me?
Well, I did, obviously.
Okay.
I don't know.
Of course.
I have seen enough of the events. I read the results. I watched the highlights. Yes.
There was Dan and Tatina walked in.
In a certain context, yes. Oh, what people walked in.
More guests showed in.
Just a revolving door of guests on the Gimmick.
The door
table.
revolves.
Ever interesting.
As always, we're live in every sense of the word,
PPC Pipe
sir.
wants to know if we're live. PPC Pipe is here,
Jay,
guys.
tell me how you feel about NXT TakeOver.
I would like to point out I was 100% correct about the resurgence of Goldberg.
Dan PVC Pipe
I would like
was
to.
here.
Mr. PVC Pipe is back, and he was the one back in, was it July?
Yeah, was it?
July, you were the one with the I don't like you, Goldberg. You called it a mile away. We are on the road, and he might have predicted WrestleMania 34.
I mean, it's John Cena's involvement in this is inevitable. There's no way. John Cena is like a shooting star, and luckily Goldberg is a black hole, and so it is only a matter of time before Goldberg finally destroys John Cena.
Before Goldberg rips apart John Cena, Adam from Adam, and crushes him subatomically. I think a lot of people out there wish.
By the way, also in response to the question Andrew just posed, NXT was terrible this week.
Okay.
I really disliked.
Now hold on.
Yes.
Hold on a minute.
NXT was horrible. Did you see the way that Vince McMahon came out and just badmouthed The Undertaker to the point that he made Kane cry?
Yep. I remember that. That was a horrible thing.
Those are people I remember.
So
it was like an emotional roller coaster.
I don't remember.
It was the greatest takeover of all time, apparently.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Was there's an argument to be made that TakeOver was like one of the best ones they've done.
Actually, it could have been one of the best ones. In my mind, it wasn't.
The DIY match alone, I think, was.
Let's start
because TakeOver was like the beginning of Survivor Series week.
Exactly.
Between this and Survivor Series and Raw, start with TakeOver and go from there.
It's very smart how they use kind of all their peripheral network stuff to create these event weekends. The way that like the Super Bowl dominates an entire week. There's the media, there's like fan stuff. WWE uses the network to do that stuff too. So they do that stuff really well. So yeah, like there's the beginning of the whole weekend began with NXT.
NXT TakeOver started with Bobby Roode and Ty Dillinger. We were watching that here. We had a little bit of another get together going on, so I don't know if it was like the energy in the room, like having just a lot of people around, but like for some reason watching that thing in a room full of people that were paying attention to it was fun. But that was a perfect start to that whole event. The crowd was so behind both of those guys that they would have been so happy with either one of them winning.
Well, I mean, me personally, and I'm going to speak for Ryan here, and I absolutely can. I'm more than disappointed that Ty Dillinger did not.
Oh no, I agree. I bought his T-shirt right after the match.
How hot was that crowd right from the get-go?
The whole crowd was hot for him the whole week.
Oh my God!
Anytime any counting thing happened, they just yelled 10.
Ty Dillinger set the pace of everything for that crowd participation for the rest of that entire week.
Yes.
Oh my God!
I mean, it was obviously, understandably, a bit of a smarter crowd because they're at this big event weekend-long thing, and so
and
you're gonna have
it's
people that are
local
willing
guys.
to spend
They're
the money.
both Canadian,
right?
You know.
But that thing was so good. Bobby Roode won. Ty Dillinger got sort of like a not like a curtain call sort of thing, but like he stood in the ring afterwards and everybody cheered for him, and
I felt like it looked like a curtain call. They put it on the show and on TV or whatever, looked like it was going to be his last match.
There was a touch of he's not just your average kind of job to open the show to make somebody who's a star, but we couldn't put him in a program yet. Bobby Roode, he's a name, but he's not in a program. it was more than just here's a way to open the show. He looks good. It was they let them kind of linger a little bit, like, hey guys, tie 2.
Right.
So they let him. If they let him go,
if
like,
they
let
don't
him look nice.
if they don't debut him at the Rumble in the 10 slot,
Oh God!
like
I didn't even think of that.
It's perfect if that's what they do.
Why they did not put him out through the curtain on Monday?
Because you don't want to spoil it.
You're not spoiling it. They've been demanding him. I understand the Rumble. I like the idea of the Rumble.
That's
but
not even necessarily what they're
Can
going to
we-
do. I just think it's the best execution.
have him. The crowd wanted him. Put him out in the curtain on Monday night and just be like, okay, he's got to go out now. Like,
Right.
he's hot now.
Right.
Like, this is it.
Yeah.
And anyone watching or anyone that's a part of this whole thing will buy into it. Mm-hmm.
I disagree. The Big Show's been irrelevant for years. There's no reason to bring him back into the NCW, and I see no reason. He is perfectly happy with what he's doing in Major League Lacrosse at this point, playing for the Atlanta Blaze.
The Atlanta Blaze are a team in Major League Lacrosse. Yes, Dan. Go see them. All right. Well, I'm going to use this gap in time to raise a question, and it's something that when Tyler
drive the discussion here,
when
please.
Tyler Breeze was doing his thing, he was in that Ty Dillinger camp, where he was a gimmick that NXT's crowd loved and that was nurtured. And whenever they played even the big events in Brooklyn or whatever, or maybe not Brooklyn because I don't think he made that show, but it was a gimmick that was kind of ironically loved and was silly, but we saw the work put in.
Right.
And then they called him up to Raw, and he was in the hands of I don't who's the director of Raw now, who are the managers, I don't know, and he's kind of flatlined.
Yeah. They don't.
I'm just going to ask.
He doesn't win.
I'm going to ask
often.
a critical question because I'm worried if this guy might be in that Tyler Breeze camp, and it's not Dillinger. So, what is Bobby Roode's gimmick beyond his entrance? And his entrance is ironic. It's a funny song that's fun to sing along to. You put that in front of Raw for 12 weeks. Where does that go?
Okay, there we go.
And I asked the question not to be like snarky, but just to be sincere. It seems like NXT, they get the crowd reaction and they stop. It's the Adam Rose thing. They get the crowd reaction and they stop.
Will it translate in front of 11,000 people as opposed to 1,000 people?
Well, what's the gimmick? The gimmick's the entrance.
He's glorious.
Once you've seen the entrance 12 times, they've played every market. They played Des Moines. They played Wisconsin. They played Green Bay. Okay, well, good. Now, what's the gimmick? How does he relate to people?
Well, I mean, what's John Cena's gimmick?
I don't know. He cares about the truth.
Yeah,
His
I
mister
mean,
does the right all the time.
I mean, it's
there. I mean, there's something there.
No, I know, but I'm saying like.
Oh, what happened? What happened?
Hold on. Oh boy. All right, we're back. Great.
Test 1 2.
Yeah, no, we're good.
Okay, so I was busy ragging on the chances Bobby Roode has to say nothing of Vince looking at him and going, he's 5'10", I don't get it. I'm worried that like Adam Rose and like Tyler Breeze and like Ty Dillinger, they've hit on something that kind of ironically the crowd loves. The entrance song is great, but it's not great in that Sammartino can sell out MSG. He's a big star kind of way. It's just fun.
Yeah.
But then beyond that, okay, you do the entrance, he wrestles a match. You do that for Raw. Where does it go from there?
Rude had an angle when he started. It was supposed to be like this corporate. He said, I'm going to turn this to be a corporate gimmick. There's going to be CEOs in the front row. There's going to be business owners. I'm going to turn NXT into, there's not going to be any of you losers. We're gonna have businessmen. We're gonna make this a Fortune 500 company.
So he was the Trump campaign.
Exactly.
I'm gonna clear the swamp.
Just walked in.
I'm gonna clear the swamp.
Hey everyone. There's a guest on the front door.
Speaking of Trump,
Gibbs is here. He's got a little gift for me.
It needs to charge.
Oh, it's got a charge.
Right.
Brought me a little.
So Bobby Roode's gimmick was that he was going to drain the swamp.
Yeah, Bobby. He was going to get the smarks and the marks and all of that garbage out of the NXT arena. I like the idea. It could have worked if you ran it along with. But he stopped. That was his first week when he started doing that, and then he absolutely gave up on that idea. I thought for sure he was going to run with, I'm corporate, which has been done a million times. But he kind of just went with, now I'm Bobby Roode. Here it is. So you're right. If you get that in front of 11,000 people week after week, it's going to get stale.
I'm worried about like if they stop where they are. If they think where they've got Bobby now is good enough, that's not good enough. That's just an entrance, and the entrance is fun, but that's not enough. An entrance is not a character that can give you 12 years. You know, an entrance is not going to get you. I'm just thinking of. I'm thinking of like
Undertaker.
Somebody.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. It's like not a lot of entrance.
But he was also what is he? 6'11" and was given an invincible push from day one.
Yeah,
superpowers.
And it's not just an entrance.
Different match types to his name.
Yeah, I mean, there's all sorts of things they did to accommodate him.
Yeah,
but like, I'm just thinking of somebody. God, who was it? Somebody did a story recently that was broken on Uprocks wrote about this, and God knows all those other websites that aggregate this stuff. They wrote about there was a wrestler. You can fill this in. They were talking about to Stephanie after Bush won re-election, and they were going to debut him as George Bush, Muhammad Hassan. Muhammad Hassan was going to be George Bush. They were going to rename him after the angles that he did weren't allowed.
Hassan was going to be named George Bush
because after the angles were banned on UPN, and they wouldn't allow him to be a terrorist anymore following 9/11. They had to repackage him, and that was one of the dumb ideas.
Where the hell did you read that?
Hassan came out. I think he did a podcast. Somebody covered this, and they said he did a podcast. And he admitted that was an idea, and Stephanie pitched it to him, and he said that's really dumb. And Steph was like, "Yeah, I know. Vince thought of it. I just wanted to pitch it by you." And so. It's that. It's like you do that. It buys you maybe a few weeks, but there's no forward momentum. And I'm looking at Bobby Roode, and he looks great in NXT with the great ironic entrance and the choir. You do that maybe 12 times on Raw, and it's old.
I want to go off the path we're on for 1 second because this actually brought up something that it was funny because I was thinking about this the other day. Had Muhammad Hassan been an Attitude Era character, not in 2006, but 1997.
Yeah,
in the Monday Night War, had everything played out.
Would have won some European championship.
Had everything played out the same way and the same angle, would they have pulled it? Would they have pulled the Muhammad Hassan character when they did?
Pre 9/11?
No. I'm just saying, had it been during the
if 9/11 had happened during the Attitude Era.
I'm just saying, had everything.
That's a little weird of a conversation.
I'm not dropping any. I'm just saying, if it were during the Attitude, if Vince was in direct competition, with WCW still.
Oh, like the sort of controversy creates.
Kept the super controversial gimmick and not pulled it. Because I think that gimmick, if you put that kind of gimmick in the Attitude Era, would have been white hot.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and Vince would not have pulled it. Not at all.
I mean, so again, we're just talking about
this fantasy crap here.
Yeah, I mean, we're just talking about Bobby Roode here. I mean,
I know we
have a lot of stuff to cover.
If we can get back to NXT, just one sentence. I really believe Vince, I'm sure did not want to, but UPN said drop this, and he did.
Yeah, right.
So
because #1 network.
I'm just thinking, the Attitude Era, USA told them to make DX stop swearing, and they did that press conference where DX was like, "We're gonna stop effing saying oops." So he maybe would have given it a week to do something silly and irreverent, and then if they still complained, maybe. And there's precedent. How he handled DX is the precedent for that. They complained. He gave it a week to do some dumb jokes. They didn't complain after that. He kept rolling with it.
Yeah.
So he would have given it a week, tried something irreverent. If they said something again, then he would have pulled it. But I'm looking at Bobby Roode and I'm thinking that there's not. You call him up to Raw, especially Raw, where it doesn't seem like they know how to handle the NXT guys terribly well.
Dillinger was the most over guy in that match.
But it's an irony. I think the crowd supports him because they know,
Ty Dillinger?
Yeah.
The 10 chant is contagious.
Yeah, it's just the yes thing.
I don't think anyone there thinks he's going to, win the title at WrestleMania or anything. They kind of know, this is a silly, fun thing we can engage in. I don't think anyone there... Don't get me wrong, he's gotten better and he's improved, and they want to support the work he's done. But I don't think anyone there... I don't think it's, the kind of heat that you get from he's the top guy and we really think he's the best guy on the show. I think he's fun.
It's the crowd participation element, like you said.
Dillinger
Bobby Roode's participation is just his entrance. Dillinger's participation is anytime someone does 10 punches in the corner, anything where it involves counting, everyone could just say 10, 10, 10. and it's contagious.
Dylan-
and that's the part that gets him over because the fans feel like they're a part of it.
Yeah, I agree. Dillinger's, for lack of a better word, heat comes from, I think, how well and how efficiently NXT builds a great context for their performers. The fans know more often than not, yeah, it's pro wrestling and it's storytelling, but it's pro wrestling storytelling, but as more often than not, they live up to the fans' expectations. They tell good stories that are logical, that do well. So like you go into that show ready and willing to cheer for stuff, no matter how silly it is.
That's why he put him through the curtain.
And so
Monday Night Raw.
Dillinger walks out first, and he's got the 10. And it's silly, but fans are willing to die for it.
It's a great gimmick.
I think Dillinger is just he's so emblematic of the culture that NXT has built. And it's the kind of thing where it's like everyone just has, in that arena, everyone had faith it would work. And that this show is going to be good, and we know it. So let's just be amped for everything that's happening.
Yeah, but that kind of went away for a while, and now it's back with him. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like NXT is not as big as it used to be.
No way Jose got chance when he debuted like from day one. Because people were willing to say, let's give it a shot.
NXT isn't complete irony though. You know what I mean? Like I think it's like the Daniel Bryan thing.
I'm
like,
not saying
people love chanting. Yeah,
I agree. I'm not saying it's complete irony. I'm saying people are willing to take each individual gimmick. They're willing to take every single gimmick with, well, let's see where it goes, in a way where that kind of passionate crowd's more cynical towards Raw, which falls back on tropes and falls back on kind of staid writing, and people are just not willing to have faith, or like if there's something done for comedy, people go, oh, this is going to be not funny within a week.
Right.
Whereas in NXT, people are willing to have that kind of faith because it pays off more often than not.
Well, we'll see where it goes, I guess.
I love Labatt.
Don't get me wrong. I love both of these guys.
Sure.
I love both of these guys. I thought it was a great opening match.
We got to move on.
Yeah.
We spent a lot of time just talking about the first match on NXT. We got a lot to get through. And on that's why I said I love Labatt Blue. That first
You're
match,
wasting time.
That first match was sponsored
Bobby
by...
Roode is brought to you by...
It's Canadian. Labatt Blue. That's why I'm drinking it tonight, folks.
The Authors of Pain and TM61 and the Dusty Rhodes Tag Classic.
I don't care who won that match. The Paul Ellering in the cage, old school, done. Don't care. I'm done.
Yeah, but that was kind of just to
I
justify
called the weapon drop. If nothing else, I was like, if this is NWA in like 1989, he's dropping a chain or something, and he did.
That whole thing was kind of just to justify having that toy set that they're coming out with.
It was fun.
No, I agree.
It was fun.
I'm not down on it. It was a good match.
I'm glad TM61 didn't win. I love the spot where one of those two dudes did the flippy thing off the truss.
Right.
That was fun. Again, I don't know the difference between Miller and Trevor. What are they called?
Nick Miller and Shane
Miller. New Girls, Nick Miller.
Yeah.
Yes. Again,
the Authors of Pain won.
Love the Authors of Pain. I'm glad they won that.
Yeah, Authors of Pain won.
That match was fun.
NXT does so well building. They probably know TM61 are only going to get more heat. They're only going to become bigger baby faces. So let them loose now. It'll be the DIY thing. Speaking of, because I'm sure they're coming up next.
Yeah,
it's a DIY thing. Let them build up sympathy and empathy and build them as bigger baby faces. And it's nice a team won the tournament. Last year, 2 singles guys won it. It's nice a team won it.
Well, TM61 looks like 2 singles guys. There's no gimmick. There's no continuity. I'm gonna pull the Russo route. If I'm a first time watcher, the TM and the 6-1 mean nothing to me. I don't understand. I'm not a fan. I just call them the Mighty or call them something. Give them a name. TM61 is random letters and numbers. I don't understand what that means.
Yeah,
I'm just speaking as a observer. I know who they are. I know where they've come from. I don't like the gimmick. I don't like the name. I'm not a fan of any of it. For two good wrestlers as they are, I don't like what they're doing.
For two good guys who get as drunk off of vodka as they did on Talkin' Shop. I think Triple H kind of. It seems like every time they sign indie guys, they change them less and less every time, and I think this is the wall. I think their name is barely off of how they were known and what their thing was, as the Mighty Don't Kneel.
But it doesn't work.
And so like it seems like the first batch of indie guys they signed, they changed their names, they gave them new gimmicks, or at least they repackaged them. You think of like Zayn, they took his mask off completely. Now it's got a point where each class they remove less and less from your indie persona, and now I think this is the wall. TM61 is not enough. You gotta brand them and market them
You
better.
need to brand and market. There's none.
You went too far in assuming we'd know who these guys were.
Right.
Go the last step. Go backwards to the last class. You change them just enough.
I'll segue into the next.
Yeah,
one,
I mean,
because
so
at least they branded Ciampa and Gargano.
They
As
didn't just
DIY.
assume you know them from Ring of Honor.
DIY.
Nope,
Yeah.
they gave them a thing.
DIY and the Revival,
Match of the year.
which some people are saying
Great match.
Some people are match of the year. Did you watch
Yes.
it?
Great
It's
match.
like it was
Great.
Well, okay.
It's like
Really? No, let me put it this way. It's been the same great matches that the Revival has had. Every title defense they've had, whether it be against Alpha or DIY, they've been in amazing matches. Would I call it match of the year off the top of my head?
I would.
Compared to everything else, I don't know. It was
people are doing. So one thing
It was really good.
So
It was amazing.
One of the things that's kind of bumming me out, I've got like people I'm reading comments. It's like, that match was better than Survivor Series was. Like that one match was better than all of Survivor. Like, okay, yes, I agree
You
with
can't
you.
say one match is better than an entire card.
Well, no, I agree with those people. The problem is I don't think that's like a necessary line in the sand to draw, because that's like, I mean, like, why can't both things just be, like, they were both really good. Like, if I get a puppy and a blowjob in the same weekend, I don't at the end of it go, well,
It's all,
I guess the puppy.
Hold on.
Now, if only you could get a blowjob from the puppy, that would be something. No, I mean, it's hard. Match of the year is hard for me
I
because
consider the
there's
whole
such.
weekend. I consider NXT, Survivor Series, Monday Night Raw. It's all one body of work.
Sure.
Because it's all one product. That's
Okay.
how I look at it. I don't look at NXT and Survivor Series as two different things. I look at it as one big entity, because that's what it is.
Yeah.
It's all one umbrella. It's all WWE. So I know when everyone's like, "Oh, it's NXT is the best thing going," I'm like, it's all the same guy. The same guy literally runs the whole thing.
I think you have a point here.
I know Triple H runs NXT.
Yeah, but
Vince
what's
really-
the distinction you're making here?
So that to say that, okay, yes, and everyone's like, oh, NXT's so much better than Survivor Series. I'm like, well, you're saying WWE's better than WWE. That's what you're saying. You get it?
We're
It's
saying
like,
one match.
Their product is better than their product.
No, that's not what's going on here. We're saying that a match that occurred that weekend was better. Like that one match was better than all of Survivor
It was the best
Series.
match of the weekend.
They're
What
not
we're saying
pitting.
is there were some fans who were being very hyperbolic about how great the match, and the match was fantastic.
It was really good.
It was
and
really
I'm trying to
good.
think. I want to have the discussion.
I
Of,
would nominate it
let's
for match
let's
of the
not
year.
like take gas out of anyone, and let's not try to put anyone down. I actually want to have this discussion right now. Let's see. There was starting in January at Wrestle Kingdom. There was Shinsuke AJ.
Yeah.
That's in that conversation. I want to actually talk about matches of the
Should we
year.
go from January to
January.
Shinsuke
Let's
and
talk
Sami
because
Zayn.
2016 is almost over. What were your matches of the year?
We don't need.
Shinsuke AJ.
That's a separate episode.
Okay.
Right, because then if we're
But
going to
I'm saying we can gloss over those things here. Sammy and Nakamura is up there too.
Revival American Alpha was fantastic. I remember really enjoying
Cedric
that.
Alexander and Ibushi at the Cruiserweight Classic was excellent.
That was very.
There are a lot of contenders for that spot. I think this match is definitely part of that discussion.
yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But yeah, it was.
I thought it was well paced. The
Yeah.
storytelling was fine. There were little moments
Yep.
where the teamwork.
Kenny
with the
Omega
Revival
and
was
Michael
fantastic.
Elgin in the ladder match. I'm just going New Japan route if we're
Yeah.
going to do that.
Oh no, I think
that
so
was
too.
one of the best matches.
That was fair.
of the year in my mind.
and then earlier this year, the Prince Puma and Rey Mysterio match from season 2 of
Another
Lucha,
great- yeah.
from Ultima Lucha 3. That was Ultima Lucha 2, the third
match
night.
of the year for WWE.
That was fantastic.
Well,
but anyways, I thought DIY Revival was like everything it had to be and could possibly be.
Oh my God, yeah. They topped everything.
Those guys did the best possible job they could have done.
I said if you go back to I think the episode Ryan's mic picked up everything and we're going through it.
You mean the previous episode?
Our previous episode. And I said that was going to be match of the night. There's no doubt that match was going to steal the show.
It had emotion.
Everyone
They
knew it was
built
gonna
great,
steal the show.
and it's that context in NXT. They built great emotion, good characters. They gave you a reason to root for the good guys, a reason to hate the bad guys. In storytelling, in the ring, the Revival pulled opportunities from them, so you wanted to see them get theirs. You cared about the friendship of Ciampa and Gargano.
Yep.
Even from the Cruiserweight Classic, they match against each other. They built real emotional kind of gravitas. They didn't just tell you, oh, they're friends and they're villains. They showed you.
Right.
NXT does a good job building a context and then saying the performers, all right, live up to the context.
Right.
We built you. Raw says, here's your gimmick, do it city to city to city to city, and it gets tired.
Yeah.
But NXT does a good job giving you the context to thrive in, and that match was everything they had to be.
And yeah, the Revival's fantastic. I've been in on them for a while, and I hope they come up soon. Gargano and Ciampa won the tag titles from that, so there'll probably be a rematch at the next TakeOver, which they announced is going to be Royal Rumble weekend.
Yeah.
So
Okay, yeah, so they give me a rematch.
Yeah, so I think it's official now. All 4 of the big pay-per-views now are
they're going to have an NXT title.
NXT weekend, and Royal Rumble will probably be extended out to 4.
They want to completely take over, for lack of a better term, the venue where they're...
Whatever city they're in, they're going to run like an Access event and an NXT event, which is smart. And the Super Bowl does that, It's smart. Take over that city, bring a bunch of tourists, and then maybe that city will bring you back in the future or pay you to run events in the future. You build
And I did want to say this. I think I mentioned it last week when we were talking about the Revival and about calling them up and where's the right place for them to go. If this match didn't improve
SmackDown, but
the whole thing, they need
SmackDown.
That's a tag team that needs 10 to 15 because they're a grind.
So you're saying the lack of time on SmackDown wouldn't be great for them?
The Revival will die if you average them between 5 to 10 every week. They are a long. You need to give that tag team time to work.
Yes,
because they are a tag team that needs to grind down the baby face.
They don't give the time to American Alpha that they deserve either.
Exactly. That's another tag team.
I'm thinking about like the way that Raw. Think about Raw's tag team division right now. There really is no division. There's the New Day as a brand, as ticket sellers, as these guys sell cereal, and then there's the people who lose to New Day. And it doesn't matter who they lose to each other. They just kind of, all right now we're in a cycle where the club keeps winning the matches that aren't with the New Day and then losing to the New Day.
I'm getting tired of the New Day thing because because they keep losing in ways to justify breaking the record that they have in like
demolition,
like 40 days or something like that.
Never mattered until how many?
Which at this point, I mean, you gotta keep it on them until they beat the record. But man, like seeing them job every week is just really, really dumb.
Well, I mean, how many people have called out at this point? Like Demolition are part of the concussion lawsuit against WWE,
right?
And they did this.
Well, exactly.
AJ
So it's
Lee's
about
record. They did that. When Bret Hart left for WCW, Owen Hart was the Blue Blazer immediately. Like they got petty in this way.
WWE is about who's in good favor with them and moments and records and things that they can market and stuff like that. So the New Day to break that record over Demolition, who is no longer relevant, like to give it to New Day because they're on now, like that's a thing you can do with it. But then also if Demolition's dealing with that other stuff, like that
it's disappointing. It would be one thing if New Day were still coming up with fun Vine jokes, but Vine is dead now.
Yeah, they should go back to being heels, I think.
It would be one thing if they were coming up with fun bits or being heels and coming up with fun jokes, but they're not.
Right.
They've hit a point where the writers, they've hit kind of, I remember shortly after Bray Wyatt got really hot following WrestleMania 30, I made a point to you guys where Bray Wyatt was so over. The Fireflies were over and fans were cheering for him. Then I said, I don't think the writers care how they handle him because they know people will come out every week just to see him. He sells tickets. He's hot. That's New Day. They don't care how they handle him. They know that kids are buying those shirts and buying the cereal. And so they literally have not cared how they've handled the tag division in a long time. So there's no tag division on Raw. There's just New Day and a bunch of scattershot teams that occasionally lose to New Day or face each other for the right to lose to New Day. And it doesn't really matter. And which is why if the Revival go anywhere, where's their Raw's draws are, let's see, they got Roman in the draft, they got Brock, they got all these guys who are mainstream draws who hit their 6 moves and go. Revival don't fit that mold. They're not the very simple, immediate ratings draw. They're just not. So you put them on SmackDown, at least they'll get that 15 minutes. At least they'll get the chance for the announcers and Ronaldo to be like, I don't know, I can't do the Ronaldo similes as quickly as anyone else, but at least they'll get the chance to build what they can do and show you, they pick people apart.
Yep.
Call them a contractor because they're, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. It's just,
if you put them on Raw, they gotta go on TV shows and game shows all of a sudden, and it doesn't work.
Yeah.
They're not a 5-minute attraction. They're a 15-minute attraction, and SmackDown works that way.
All right.
They work on SmackDown.
I mean, we'll cross that bridge, I guess, when we get to it. But anyway, so next we got Asuka and Mickie James.
I love Asuka.
Which
Asuka's my favorite.
Asuka's like so good, and Mickey James is still fantastic.
She's only 2 years older than Asuka. Got a chance. Like, are ridiculous. They're both almost the same age.
Mickey James did a great job in that match.
Yes.
Mickey James looks fantastic.
She made Asuka look like $1 million, and Asuka made her look like she never lost a step.
She had a kick to Asuka's head that would have like as good as like Asuka can do kicks. You know what I mean? Like Mickey James is still like doing really, really well. What are you doing? If you're retching at it, don't drink.
I am drinking LaRue.
Can I just say?
I am drinking blackberry brandy.
After being hit by a train on TNA, Mickey James, the fact that she can even walk is amazing to me. I think it's inspirational that she can even wrestle. You saw how James Storm pushed her in front of that train.
James Storm threw her in front of a damn train. Killer's here. Killer, say something.
Say something, Killer.
Fan of the podcast.
Something, Killer.
Killer's a good friend of the podcast.
Everyone here.
Long time listener.
I'm only 3 episodes behind. I'm catching up.
See, he's right there with everybody else. Come on now.
Mickey James looks real good for being dead.
Do you think Coca-Cola and LaRue is going to go well together?
No,
I doubt it.
I wouldn't do it.
I doubt that blackberry brandy and brown
Coca-Cola.
sugar water will go well together.
Well, we're doing it right here. Gimmick table break to try a new cocktail.
You know, aspartame not only is bad for you, but it actually slows down enzymes and help you lose weight. It's terrible for you.
Aspartame is in Diet Coca-Cola soda, sir. It's not in any. It's not. All right, so let's see how this goes. I just took some Coca-Cola, some LaRue, and I'm gonna try it. Boogity boo. Let's go.
Shiggity swooty. Let's hear about that swilly.
It's not bad.
All right,
really?
Get yourself some.
I'm actually
put some of those hot pepper flakes in it.
No, all right. I consider myself among like an Asuka fan group. Like I love Asuka. I love the fact that she's one of the few women in the company with a gimmick. The rest of them are just people. She's a very pretty girl, and she happens to be good at wrestling. Asuka is a gimmick. She will kill you, and I love that.
Asuka's also a pretty girl who's good at wrestling.
Well, don't get me wrong. I mean,
come on now.
I'm not here to judge attractiveness, but yes, Asuka's very attractive. But like, the kicks are great. The kickboxing background is great. The masks are great.
Everything's great. Why did Ian leave?
Asuka package is finalized, and we were talking about this. We were talking about this in Ryan's truck. And he's walking by us right now. He's probably going to get some cheese from the fridge or something. We were talking about this in Ryan's truck.
Yeah.
That, like, I'll drink it, don't worry. That right now, it makes sense at a big show to feed Mickey to Asuka because no one's really ready for that spot to have a big match against Asuka. Because I'm going to give Ryan the Coke and blackberry brandy. He'll have some, I told you he's going to go with some cheese. He got some cheese.
He got some cheese. He actually got some cheese.
I told you guys, he got some cheese.
Ryan, LaRue and Coca-Cola, get some.
Asuka is almost too good for the division. Because, like, it's not just that she's, like, over, and it's not just that she's good. She has, like, an attraction, which none of the women in the division, outside of, Ember Moon, soon, maybe, has.
I do like Ember Moon.
She has a package.
Yeah.
And so, like, it makes sense to bring in, like, Mickey.
Sure.
My question is...
Where do they go?
It was a great idea.
My question is, if Ember Moon's not ready by Royal Rumbles next, right? Let's say Ember Moon is not ready by then.
Yep.
What former diva do you bring in? To buy time.
Candice Michelle.
No. All right, Melina? No.
So
Melina made a Lucha Underground appearance.
You could do Melina.
She was good. Yeah. She was doing like sunset flips when
I don't know what
Candice Michelle was trying to do.
You know what they'll probably do? They'll probably force Ember Moon. They'll be like, well, you know, this is the situation we got. We don't have enough people that we built, so we got.
It's not great, but it's not bad.
Can I say that Asuka is really like her character has been like with the entrance and the music and her
everything, the whole package.
Her swagger is completely absorbed now into like she's completely got it now.
The whole package is incredible.
How she comes down to the ring and how she plays and how she how she interacts with her opponent. Like her, like just the whole look right now is at it's better than it's ever been.
She is someone that I don't think
good.
Revival work on
Ian's
Raw
right there. Dr. Jurgenstein's right there.
He is. I don't think Revival work on Raw because I don't think they're a gimmick that you can pitch to the mainstream.
Are we still doing this?
But I think
we move past the Revival.
But I think Asuka. No, I'm saying I think Asuka works on Raw because the package is final.
Oh yeah,
you can job people to
Asuka's ready,
and people will pay money to see the sheet and the mask and the kicks.
Yeah,
I just want to see that and her win in 5 minutes.
You know what? Revival. You know what I also noticed what. I mean, they do the whole give everyone in the first 12 rows the Oscar masks, like they used to in ECW. Give everyone in the house the styrofoam head.
Al Snow head.
I love it. Just the Cesaro section sign when they give everybody the signs to make that put that person over by giving the fans like a participation prop. Like that. Loved it when everyone was wearing the Oscar mask, just like when Daniel Bryan had all the yes signs at WrestleMania.
Well, no, that was organic.
That was organic. Okay, that was
he was
fan
killed
made.
by Sheamus. In Orlando, I think. What was that? Orlando.
Yeah.
In Orlando, when he was beat by Sheamus, 18 seconds.
That was fan made.
Yesers. That was organic.
Yes.
Everyone after that was they handed them out. But yeah, I know what you're saying. Like that, they're giving.
That might have been Miami. I don't know if that was Orlando. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Nakamura, Samoa Joe.
Didn't go the way that we all thought it would.
Yeah, we predicted, I think, all of these matches except for this one.
I think a lot of people made the very smart position of, Joe beat the Demon, and Nakamura's beaten like everyone in front of him.
Nakamura also beat. Well, he didn't beat the Demon. He beat Finn.
He beat Finn. Like, all right, is he invincible? He's got to lose at some point. Like, someone made. Very
it's nice once in
Joe's. At some point, Nakamura's got to lose. You can't make him invincible.
Yeah, it's nice once in a while to see them not go the route of the invincible babyface and just have like this really dickhead heel who's really strong and powerful. He won by kicking Nakamura in the dick.
Why? Right. He
won by being a jerk. Like,
he's a heel.
Yeah. No, it's a good choice.
He'll win any way he has to. But did they embellish or acknowledge the fact that this was Nakamura's first loss?
I don't remember them doing that. No.
He hasn't, other than last Saturday, he has not lost.
Yeah.
In WWE.
No.
Or NXT, whatever. But they didn't. I thought for sure, make that a big deal. It doesn't matter whether Joe won dirty, but that was Nakamura's first loss ever.
They may have on NXT this week. I didn't watch it because I figured it was the typical post takeover show where they just show you the dark matches from what they filmed at the.
That's what I think it was.
So maybe they acknowledge some of that, or maybe they'll talk about it on next week's. But no, really surprising choice, I think. But I'm fine with it. I don't. Nakamura's not worse for the wear or whatever. And there's a chance they may bring him up soon. I don't know. There's no talk that I know of one way or the other, because they're obviously going to do the rematch at Royal Rumble.
Didn't they say there's going to be a match in Japan in a couple weeks or something like that?
I have no idea.
I think they announced that there's going to be a televised event either in Japan or somewhere else in like 2 weeks. It's like a cage. I'm not.
I want to say
cage
you're right
match
about
or something.
that, I don't know, but I want to say you're right. There's like some network thing coming up.
Yeah, it's about time. They haven't done one of those in a while.
I thought for sure that this was Joe's call up. I thought, get him. He's got to get called up.
Yeah.
I mean, well, they're both older.
I mean,
time's not on their side.
You know what I think? I think Nakamura is getting a call up soon, because I think Joe kind of understands the indie sensibility NXT has and that he fits in it. Whereas Nakamura, he didn't come to the United States to perform in front of Full Sail crowds. He came to the United States to work MSG and to work stadiums, to work WrestleMania, and to, remember when Ultimo Dragon came to SmackDown and
Can I give you a tip? When they're doing that, don't talk louder, talk closer.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I remember when Ultimo Dragon came to SmackDown.
Yeah.
And his understanding was I'm here for the dream of working for WrestleMania.
Right.
And then he came out and he tripped on his cape and they gave him some cruiserweight.
That was
championship
WrestleMania
stuff.
20.
Right.
Yep. And then
remember I joked? I was like, oh, he's done.
Yep.
And then they actually got rid of him.
Yep. And then it was nothing. So Shinsuke didn't move halfway across the world to work in front of a bunch of college or university class crowds.
Right.
I think his call up is soon. Yeah. I really do. And I think he gets Raw just by default because that's the biggest brand and they promised it to him. And somewhere in his contract it says you're going to get so many Raw dates by your second year.
Yeah.
I think Joe stays down just because Joe appreciates, okay, this crowd gets me. These are kids who neophytes who grew up on Ring of Honor. They get it.
They know him. And they followed him his whole career.
When Shinsuke signed on the dotted line, I'm sure the promise was Raw, Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, the big brand names.
And I think Shinsuke is getting up. I'm predicting. Let's see, we're going into 2017 with Royal Rumble, right? So I predict by March of 2017, Shinsuke is not only up on the main roster, it's for granted he's on the main roster.
You think he'll be at WrestleMania this year?
He's not even an NXT guy by March of next year.
You think he'll be on WrestleMania
I think he's I think he's at the very least the Andre the Giant winner.
I've been saying this
at
about...
the very least. I think he wins that Battle Royal in WrestleMania. I think he's on a main roster by March of 2017.
That's well, you heard it here first.
He's not even remotely in NXT.
We'll see, I guess, when that time comes. But I mean, either way, that does it for Takeover. I mean, it was just a solid show. Let's jump into Survivor Series.
Yeah,
because we are going a little long. I mean, we haven't hit an hour yet, but let's do highlights. We don't have to run down every single.
Because in all honesty, the card really meant nothing.
Well, so this is what I'm saying.
Nothing.
That's why I don't disagree with the tag match at Takeover was better than all of Survivor Series, because a lot of Survivor Series was maybe whatever. But
it's fluff.
Let's
Nothing went the way we thought it would.
Well, all right. Let's just start with the biggest thing. So I think Goldberg Lesnar.
So we're going right to Goldberg Lesnar.
Yeah, let's just start there.
Well, if I can sum up everything that happened prior to it, WWE fights tooth and nail to whenever the fans kind of tell them your television writing needs to mimic television writing where things have stakes. And you establish stakes very clearly over the course of some episodic storytelling.
Sure.
All of the Survivor Series,
none of them had anything on
tag teams. Nothing was at stake.
Right. We talked
the two matches that were at stake,
rights, and the two matches that had anything on the line did not pan out to anything.
The cruiserweight title is going to move. The whole division is going to move to SmackDown. Never mind.
Neither.
The Intercontinental title is going to move to Raw. Never mind. Yeah. And so, it's one of those things where
nothing moved the needle.
It would make sense.
The needle did not move at all.
If they embodied that kind of storytelling, they would have to embody it year-round, and that means that you can't just take a gimmick and play it in Des Moines, and play it in Green Bay, and play it in all these different cities, and play it in Tulsa, and play it, and 5 moves, they paid money to see this guy do his gimmick and leave. If you embody episodic storytelling where things evolve every week, then you've got to embrace that, and that means that, we played this gimmick in New England, and California doesn't get to see it, and they will fight that tooth and nail. Raw will repeat gimmicks and repeat feuds, and guys will just keep fighting each other for months, and they fight evolution like tooth and nail. And what it means is that you every now and then get a story, get a pay-per-view like Survivor Series, where nothing's on the line, nothing really changes, nothing evolves after it, and the Raw after Survivor Series, everything stayed the same, and all the matches and feuds were the same. The club is still fighting New Day. How is that possible?
The Survivor Series was literally just to see if Raw was better than SmackDown.
Well,
the theme of the Survivor Series matches, there was nothing on the line.
That's exactly what he's saying. Here's the other thing. It feels like Hell in a Cell, didn't happen because Charlotte, we joked about it last week, but Charlotte and Becky are still doing hands on hips, sweetheart type of stuff. They killed each other in a giant cage, and it's not over yet.
We don't talk about it,
and it's not escalating from there either. It's just I don't want you to be my team captain. It should have been done,
but they didn't reference it.
Should have been absolutely done after that. But now here we are. Exactly.
In the Survivor Series tag matches, how often were previously established relations? How often were they called upon, especially in the beginnings of those matches? How often were I won't work with this person, or I'll only work with this person if it means I get to keep my job?
That was every gimmick to every Survivor Series match.
They didn't, but they did. How someone was being pinned and no one ran in to break it up, and it just was so.
Yeah.
You hope that the storytelling reflects the storytelling. You hope that the moves in the ring reflect the promos that have been cut and the stakes that have been established, and none of it did. Yeah. So I think it's smart to start with Goldberg Lesnar. That was the only thing that had any fallout.
Right, so let's do that. Oh boy. So Goldberg won.
Yep.
Goldberg won clean.
Yep.
Goldberg won in a minute and a half.
Immediate knee-jerk reaction. What did you feel immediately?
Joy.
When you watched it?
I marked for it. I was not disappointed at all. As soon as in fact, literally, I tweeted my reaction after I said it out loud. I was just like, get fucked. I was happy as all hell. I didn't see that coming at all. I was worked. I was happily entertained by everything going on, and immediately it starts with the text messages from friends and the internet posts of like, well, I don't understand why they did that to Lesnar.
And
After 2 years of booking this guy as a top heel,
this
and
is
all that
why
work,
it was
like,
booked as a fight.
Undertaker's streak ended for this. It's like they didn't give Undertaker's streak to Goldberg. Here's what I want to say. Goldberg is
candy.
What is this?
Thank you so much.
Ryan's
Why?
bringing some candy. You want the Hershey kiss? You can't have it.
So here's the thing. Goldberg is known for doing a certain type of thing. Goldberg in WCW is known for squash matches. That's what got him over. 12 years ago, that is not what they did with Goldberg in WWE. He won a lot of his more important matches and stuff, and with the exception in WCW, like the Halloween Havoc match with DDP.
Okay, like I said,
for the most part,
DDP, Bret Hart, Hulk Hogan when he won the belt.
Right.
Nothing went beyond 10 minutes.
Right. Except, but so like Goldberg, that's what he does, is he beats people quickly.
He's a fighter.
But that's not what they did.
His gimmick is that he's an MMA fighter. He's a shooter. His matches are fights. Keep going.
Well, so Goldberg, 12 years ago, that's not what they did with him, and it didn't get over.
They made a match.
So what they did now is just, they did what got Goldberg over in the first place, and lo and behold, it worked.
Yep. Hey,
imagine that.
There was 12,000 people, probably more, whatever it was, at the Canada Airline Arena, whatever it's called. Not one person was sitting in their seat.
No.
At the end of that, everyone freaked out. It got everybody. It got me. I was jumping off my couch, freaking out. I was texting my brother. I'm like, "Holy shit, Goldberg did it!" I was like, "This is great, like awesome." Loved it. But the fact of the matter is, I've been saying we knew that it was a Lesnar match, so it was going to be an attraction. It was not going to be a match. They booked this. The commentator said it was a fight. It's fantasy warfare. There was going to be some schmozzy, like not schmozzy, because it doesn't go beyond. It goes outside the conventional WWE style of putting on matches. This was a fight. It was just one guy who was booked as an MMA fighter, another guy who was booked as an MMA fighter, and they had basically a fight. In MMA, you could have the best guy in the world and he gets knocked out in 20 seconds. It happens all the time.
I actually don't really see the MMA argument for Goldberg, but
Goldberg was the guy. I consider
In,
Goldberg
like,
was booked as an MMA
his
fighter.
attraction was like, look,
he
the
came
black
out with the
trunks.
fingerless gloves. He came out with the MMA gloves, and he came out as a guy who would throw you and spear you and beat you in 2020 seconds.
Right.
And Goldberg wanted to be that. That's how he always saw himself. He said, "I want my matches to look real. In a real fight, someone loses in 2 minutes."
So don't get me wrong, things change. Like in '98, Goldberg is an MMA draw. Made sense. Nowadays, things have evolved and people know what MMA looks like.
Goldberg more so
That was
less
more
because he was
eruditely,
never
yes.
an actual
No, he was
mixed martial artist. But they don't promote Lesnar. Lesnar isn't booked and promoted in WWE as a wrestler. He's promoted as an MMA fighter and a side attraction.
even so, that aside though, it's really easy the way you write it off. Like it's like Lesnar was squashed, but he wasn't buried. Lesnar's fine.
Okay, first of all,
any
you can't
person
bury
that fell,
Brock Lesnar.
No, but any person that fell victim to Goldberg's squashes. Goldberg's squashes. Like nobody was ever worse for the wear. Nobody in WCW
that was
worse.
the Meltzer argument. Was someone from WWE backstage told Meltzer, like Raven, Chris Jericho, DDP, if they lost to Goldberg, the attraction was Goldberg's attraction, as far as I can understand it, back in the day, was
he makes
people
quick work
who
of
never
people.
watched wrestling would see him and watch. Look at this guy. Watch, he murders people. Watch this guy. To the point where his fans would almost never pay attention to his opponents.
Right.
You were just paying attention to Goldberg, and that's the draws. Watch this guy kill this other guy.
I can say, for example, I mean, so let's see, that was when I was a kid. So we're
That's
talking
1998.
1998. I was 10, 11 years old, and my brother would watch Monday Night Show in his room.
We were 12.
12. Yeah, so 6th grade, 5th grade, 1998, 1999. My brother would watch Nitro in his room, and I would tell him to watch Nitro, and I put it over so I didn't have to, because I was a Monday Night. I was a WWF guy. But whenever Goldberg came on, I was just wanted him to watch it so we can just watch Goldberg, because that was the only thing that we would tune in. Literally, because that was like right around when the Wolfpack crap started, and it was kind of tapering off for me, because Austin was at his peak, and then anytime Goldberg came on, everything stopped. You're right. It didn't matter who he was fighting.
No.
It didn't matter. It was just watch Goldberg show up. I wanted to see the spear. I wanted to see the jackhammer. Exactly. I wanted to see him pop up and just go through the. I just.
That's what Goldberg does.
That's what they gave us on Sunday.
I don't understand why that's such a bad thing. It doesn't make.
It's not a bad thing.
They didn't give Undertaker's streak to Goldberg when they had Goldberg do that. You're booked into a spot where they promised us Goldberg Lesnar, and so all the arguments of like, well, why couldn't they have given that to somebody else? It's like, well, because they made all these decisions like along the way. He was going to lose, but then like Lesnar was like, hey, there's money in this. He's getting over. People really like him, so let's go this angle. And then they convinced him to sign on for a few more dates. He's going to be in the Rumble now. They're probably going to do a rematch.
Blow off at Mania. Lesnar's in control of this whole thing too. That's a whole other problem I have when people say like, "Oh, what? Who are you going to bury?" The term "buried" is when you are an employee of the company and you are getting put down, even though you are a hard worker.
You're putting down a rung. You
have a glass ceiling and there's people keeping you down. You don't. Lesnar's not getting buried because Lesnar's in full control of every single thing he does.
Well, it's just like when Lesnar broke the streak and the dominant talking point, and
Undertaker wanted him to break the streak 5 years ago after he beat Shane Carwin. When Lesnar beat Shane Carwin, I'm sorry.
No worries.
No, because I get hot about this.
He gets hot. Oh, he gets hot.
Undertaker has been wanting.
Look how hot he is right now.
Oh, I'm so hot right now. Need more.
I don't think you do.
Oh, I need more brand.
But my point was, what you were literally making, but by all means, make it for me.
When Lesnar beat Shane Carwin at UFC in 2009, when Lesnar defended his title against Shane Carwin, Undertaker was in the crowd, shook his hand, and said, "You want to do it?"
Yeah.
He was referring to the streak.
Yes.
Undertaker has wanted Lesnar to take the streak from him for the last 6 years.
And that's the thing. It comes down to the dominant talking point when the streak was broken was, really? Lesnar? A part-timer? Yeah, because ultimately it's up to The Undertaker. Or if you're Shawn Michaels and it's your last match, or if you're Triple H and it's your last match, it's up to you who you fight, right? Everything that happens to Lesnar from here on out is largely going to be broken down into leverage and contract negotiations. Who does he feel like losing to, and who does he feel like fighting, and who does he think he can make money with? And if he thinks Goldberg can pop, then by all means he's going to lose to him, and it doesn't. So the talking point of, well, what about a young guy who could use that? Well, I doubt Lesnar looks at Bray Wyatt and says, oh, Bray Wyatt's pop culturally relevant enough that this is worth giving to him.
Right.
I doubt Lesnar thinks that. And then the second aspect of that is, how stale was the suplex king who can't be knocked down? Lesnar did everything for the company over the last 2 years he possibly could. He got them, and them ESPN coverage. They have a splash portal on ESPN.com and on the ESPN app for WWE coverage. That's because of Lesnar. Because the last few WrestleManias, Lesnar's been one of the top 3 items of news on ESPN. He's done everything he can do for them. Now you take that heat, and I mean, don't get me wrong, Goldberg's a strange guy to give that to, but at the end of the day, he also pops with that same audience.
Right.
So you almost have to treat it like, I remember trying to explain to someone once, someone was complaining to me in college, like, the great Khali, really? He's not for you. The rest of the pay-per-view's for you. Khali pops this corner of the audience. Right. Let them have him, because he's all they've got. Lesnar Goldberg pops this corner of the audience, this mainstream sect who almost never watch Raw or SmackDown, but they'll buy the pay-per-view to see that. Leave them alone. You have the rest of the product. You have the network. You have the 209. You have everything else. Let that crowd that remember Goldberg, remember the NWO, but remember Sting though? Yeah, I remember. Let them have that match. That belonged to them. Everything else was ours. Well, it's business. It's good business.
Yes, so that's the business angle for it. But even in like storyline terms, like why would this top like Like we covered it.
Lesnar was getting stale in the Abdullah the Butcher.
That's still more business stuff. That's still more business stuff, though.
So
I'm talking like I'm talking. You build a guy as this huge this huge monstrous villain
Lesnar
for so
took him
long,
lightly.
and then. Yeah, exactly. Like, it's real easy. Plus, like, why have him do that? Well, because that's just what Goldberg does.
Yes.
That's what he did, and it worked, and that's what he did now, and it worked. And they're going to probably have another full-length match at Mania, but for now, like, this is...
And I'm sure Lesnar will win at Mania.
Yeah,
but he's still
fine.
down 2-1, so Goldberg can walk away saying, I won 2.
Lesnar has lost since he beat Undertaker. At Mania. This is not his first loss.
He lost at Mania to Triple H.
That was before that.
But I'm saying current kind of like Jimmy John shorts, MMA. Look at me, I'm Brock Lesnar. I could beat Big Show with just a chair and make him frown a bunch at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
This current incarnation, he's lost before.
He's lost to The Undertaker since then. They had a rematch at SummerSlam and he lost.
Oh yeah, the kick in the dick.
Yeah, but I mean, it was a cheap-shotted thing, but he has losses on his record. Like, Brock Lesnar is not unstoppable. They've already shown that. And matches where he's lost, where he wasn't being pinned, you still go like, well, if this guy is so powerful enough to beat The Undertaker, why couldn't he make quick work of Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins? Or just Roman Reigns before Seth Rollins cashes in that Money in the Bank. You know, like, storyline-wise, Lesnar has his flaws, and so he took Goldberg lightly. He got shoved down.
He's weak to steel.
Yes.
He's weak to the diverticulitis.
Yes.
Is still a thing.
Right.
He
speared him. It was right in the gut.
He has a dick. If you kick him in the dick, it hurt. If you kick him in the balls, it hurts.
Right.
He has weakness. Steel.
Yeah.
His balls. He has weakness.
He's a person.
It was overdue.
It was a good choice.
For the Lesnar loss that sparks a new story was overdue.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate that, like, you know, a Randy Orton or Bray Wyatt or some young guy didn't get it, but whatever.
That young Randy Orton.
Yeah, I know. But that talking point is done because Lesnar can call his own shot, so you're going to get what Lesnar wants to do. And I'm sure Lesnar looked at Goldberg and said, yeah, that'd be fun, whatever.
Yeah, and they're going to do it again, and it's fine.
Whatever.
They're going to be at the
And
Rumble.
again,
It's a good choice.
It's that audience's thing.
For a company that's so piss poor at coming up with good...
They
coming
nailed
up with
the big stuff.
Like, baby faces
the big
are
stuff.
like none of the baby faces in the company are over at all.
None.
Like none of them. They've built a fantastic baby face in Goldberg in such a short amount of time. Like
They just
with a
brought
company
back a guy.
with a company that is so littered with
They could have brought back 2000 Goldberg from Raw and it wouldn't have worked. They
Right,
brought
exactly.
back WCW. I slaughter
and
people
it worked.
Goldberg,
Yes.
and it works.
With a company that's so littered with heels and bad guys, and it's nice to see a show and with this dominant dude you can cheer for to pop the like. It's nice to end on a high note like that for once. Like I don't understand the complaint about it.
The one thing it's where people nitpick.
I mean, I do, but I don't.
Everything
like
makes sense. You know what? The one thing that people will go towards more than anything after all this, after everything we talked about on how this whole thing makes sense, the one thing people will go after every single freaking time is Goldberg's age. They're like, "Oh, he's 49. It doesn't make any sense." I'm like, "Well." In the in the whole scheme of things in professional wrestling, when has anyone ever WWE? When have they ever referenced age? They never
Almost
do.
never.
They never talk about how old somebody is.
He's small potatoes, but MVP debuted for the company on SmackDown as the highest paid free agent in whatever when he was like 37.
He's like 30, right?
Like.
That part drives me nuts because the fans will take the age thing. I don't understand. Like, oh, well, he's 49. I'm like, well, in their narrative, they never mentioned how old he was. Yes, their last fight happened 14 years ago, but nobody mentioned how old Goldberg
They're
is.
both older. It doesn't.
Right.
I know, you
But
know,
nobody's talking about how old they are. Yes, okay. At some point, you need to stop nitpicking at the kayfabe and just let their narrative happen.
It's dramatic irony because it's like we know stuff that they're not telling us about.
Right.
Yeah, I get.
Just because Goldberg is 49 years old, like we don't.
It doesn't matter.
Now you're just taking it apart for the sake of doing. Oh, a 49-year-old is not going to do that to a 39-year-old Brock Lesnar.
I'm gonna try and make kind of
Give me a break.
not ironic point, but kind of a silly point. Stay with me.
That's where you need to let wrestling be wrestling.
It's a sports fan instinct because sports fans will do this with their favorite football team. Well, the 5-year plan is bad. Well, we don't have a quarterback that we can trust in. Well, the future looks bleak. Why are they starting a guy who's 39?
Well, hell, how did 40-year-old Peyton Manning win the Super Bowl this past year?
But again, it's one of those things where, okay, as a sports fan, that's fair because you don't want a team.
Doesn't make sense to me.
You don't want a sports fan. You don't want a sports team that's built around 39, 40-year-olds to fall apart the next year, and then you have 5 bad years. WWE and pro wrestling in general can reinvent itself on a dime. So, okay, you do the Goldberg Brock Lesnar thing. It appeals to that corner of fans who just are nostalgic and they want to see that, and it's pitched to them, and they buy into it. They see it on ESPN, they get it. The rest of the card can be 20 and early 30s guys having good matches that builds the attractions you find cool a year from now.
That's exactly what Survivor Series was.
Which, well, to be fair, a lot of those matches were, like the 5 of Strowman was eliminated quickly and whatever. Who cares? The point is, I look at the Goldberg-Lesnar match, and I don't care about the ages of the guys. I just wonder, where does this fit in their overall scheme, especially heading into Royal Rumble and WrestleMania? It's its own thing. It's going to be its own thing. Who cares?
Goldberg's not going to be part of the regular stuff.
He's not going to be part of the title reign.
No, they're
going to be their own thing.
Well,
so let it be its own thing.
The realism of it, everyone's like, well, it doesn't make sense that Lesnar lost to a 49-year-old guy. And I'm like,
Peyton Manning
okay, at some point you need to be like, this is wrestling.
Yeah, how about...
That's for me. I'm like,
screen age matters, not real age.
Right. Yeah, he doesn't look. Hey, let me put it this way: what 49-year-olds that or anyone in their 50s that look like Bill Goldberg? I don't know any other than Bill Goldberg. So you can't. I just that part of the where the negativity and the negative reaction over this whole thing is coming from. They're like, oh well, Goldberg's 49 doesn't make any sense. I'm like, well then stop watching wrestling because now you're just not having fun with it. Right. Like now you're not watching wrestling.
Right.
I mean, how old is drawing a blank here, John
Mysterio,
John McCain or Die Hard guy.
Bruce Willis.
Bruce Willis's character in Die Hard is 58 years old in the newest Die Hard, but he's landing planes on helicopters on the top of a garage.
The actor's 58, but the character might be like 39.
We're having fun with it. Shut up.
Yeah, get off. Air Force One, get off my plane. Like
that's the LaRue talking.
He was 49 when he kicked that terrorist off Air Force One. Who cares? You cheered because he kicked a terrorist off Air Force One.
Right.
When it's its own to me. And I've never been this apologetic for this kind of feud before. John McCain is the governor of Arizona.
That's not John McCain. John McCain is the governor
of Arizona.
Former.
To me, Goldberg and Lesnar, they're in their own little universe. You're never going to see them outside that universe. Don't worry, Kevin Owens is still the champion on Raw. Seth Rollins is still fighting him. Everything's fine. If you want to see the young guys succeed and you want to see a future of the program, they're still doing well.
Right.
It's its own thing, and the fact that since it is its own thing, and therefore it doesn't need to bleed into other stories, then do the surprising thing. That'll get people talking, and that was Goldberg winning. So they went with the surprising thing, and it works for this little off.
John McClane.
Okay.
John McClane.
Other than that, I mean, we covered the cruiserweight thing and the intercontinental thing. None of those things played out in a way that shook anything. Miz still has the IC title.
Nothing changed.
Nothing changed.
Kendrick still has the cruiserweight title. The three Survivor Series matches.
Here's a fun philosophical question. Is TJ Perkins still in this company in a year?
Yeah.
365 days. Is TJ Perkins still in WWE?
Yeah. I think so.
Is the cruiserweight division going to be a thing in a year?
Yeah, that's what I'm more concerned about.
Ooh.
205 Live debuts on Tuesday night, right?
I would figure the cruiserweight division survives, but Perkins is like a jobber at best in a year.
I'm wondering
He's not hitting.
I'm wondering if they're forcing the wrestlers to cover both their travel expenses for working 2 days in a row.
What if this show isn't live?
It
They
we don't.
record it on
I don't
Raw,
care. I don't
show
care.
it
I don't
on
want to talk
Tuesday.
about that. I don't care.
No, we're not getting
No,
into it.
I don't care.
So I'm
It doesn't matter.
extremely intrigued by this whole thing.
Like I'm not falling down a rabbit hole. Is it live or is it? I don't care. I don't know.
Yeah, but
it doesn't matter.
It's fun,
Who cares?
though. It's
It doesn't
something
matter.
different.
No,
It's
it
like-
doesn't matter.
All right.
We cover it next episode.
We've got 3 Survivor Series tag matches, and we predicted those. I think. Well, we all disagreed on the. I predicted them accurately though. SmackDown won the main one. The other 2 went to Raw.
I said SmackDown was going to win the SmackDown. I think I said SmackDown was going to win the main and would win the Divas.
It was so clever.
Or no. Maybe I said Raw was going to win the bottom 2, and then I said SmackDown was going to win the main one, which is the one that actually
I
matters.
thought the Raw Divas one was the Divas one in general. Oh, I'm sorry, the women's division one. I thought was very strange.
Didn't watch it. Fast forward.
Bailey and
Because they're building the Charlotte.
Bailey and Charlotte, and then Charlotte takes her out, but there's no heat behind it. Like,
Yeah.
Charlotte didn't act like a heel the entire match. And like, I just
Having,
it was oddly booked,
Having
beginning
Nia
to end.
having Nia tap out to Becky is really weird because the
Was
two of
really
them are never
strange.
gonna.
And
They're never gonna meet again.
now
because
you've seen
never
Nia
gonna
every
interact.
week, which kind of kills all the booking up
You
to this
can
point.
you can get away with 1 DQ spot or 2 per match. Giving that one to like Naomi is
Yeah.
kind of weird over Nia Jax.
Right.
If you did it with
If you're gonna pin or have someone tap out like right away, Naomi, sure, fine. Nia's your monster. How
Yeah,
do you
exactly.
sacrifice it?
That was
I
a
don't
little-
know.
that was a weird choice.
How do you have your monster?
The women's one, you could tell they just threw it together in 5 minutes
Yeah,
before the night, and it's just like,
probably.
okay, this looks questionable from beginning to end.
Naomi Jax only taps out like in an intense situation.
Naomi
When she
Jax,
taps-
really?
What I said? What I said?
Naomi Jax.
It's been a long day.
Naomi
Nia,
taps.
Nia Jax only taps. It's like a Dr. Seuss book. Nia Jax taps out to like when Bailey had her in that chokehold for 20 minutes when they would take over.
Yes.
Like when they drew it out to the point where
And that
she
was-
literally
and the-
sucked the life out of her.
And that was-
she absolutely had no choice but to tap.
And that was at the end of a long form match that it made sense. Bailey came with a game plan and executed it and found her weakness and exploited
Figured it out.
And whereas this was your usual like, a semi finisher was hit and then 3 people put their submissions on and then she just tapped out quickly. Like she was nobody. And it's like, all right, well then I'm not going to think of her seriously for at least the next 3 months. I'm going to remember that until I forget about it, and that's going to take a while.
I love Blackberry Brandy, guys.
I don't know.
Yeah, it was. I liked all 3 of those traditional matches just fine, but yeah, like they made some weird choices.
The Raw vs. SmackDown 5-on-5 was amazing.
Was
like, can we just say that
50
was
minutes
It was
long.
a great
Yeah.
match.
It was all right.
Entertaining.
I think it went on maybe
fun.
a few minutes too long, but
They had.
I liked the little Shield reunion, but it was fine. It was fine.
the tag team one I thought was weird because they got rid of the New Day like first, pretty much, except for Breezango.
I like the fact that they got rid of the New Day first. It made
I don't, because of the way they're booking them to conquer the demolition record,
Yeah.
where they keep looking weak and weak and weak and weaker. They never win when it counts anymore. They just they win in ways to justify keeping the belts on for so you don't get the impression that they're winning for any real reason other than like backstage stuff. You know?
Well, I mean, you get the
and we were already talking about
the
this.
New Day doesn't need to get over, so you take them out. Like the best team in that match, the Usos look phenomenal.
Yep.
The Usos, like, even though didn't American Alpha
look phenomenal too.
What? American Alpha look great.
Yeah.
The Usos look. Again, the Usos look better.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was, but the Usos looked like $1 million
I
in
would
that
hope
match.
they look better. They've had how much more experience at the main roster and
I
knowing how to
understand
appeal
that,
to
but
those
I'm
crowds.
just saying, even though the fact they've
I
been
would
there
hope they
forever
know
with
how
the
to
gimmick
work.
change, they just the Usos looked amazing. They looked great in that match, and then the whole mix of things, they stood out to me more than anyone in that match. Other than the fact that
I
the New
picked
Day,
out American Alpha more, but that's fine.
they were there too. I'm not saying that they weren't, but the Usos were for me in my mind. American Alpha had their spots, which was awesome.
Yeah,
but
Yeah,
the Usos just
I was kind of
I don't
hoping
know.
for that.
They're really growing on me.
Remember, like, what was it, like 6 years ago when like DX came out and CM Punk was there and they were in Philly and they tried to put over. I was waiting for that kind of like spot for American Alpha where the crowd was just firmly alpha.
You could get American Alpha if you just give them a
But, like-
program with the Usos that's consistent. I've been saying
They're
this
building.
for
It's SmackDown.
months.
They're building to that. I'm sure there's going to be a Mania thing where
Usos
they're
got the
getting
American
Remember
Alpha's debut. The Usos have gotten the best of them every single freaking time, except for this past Tuesday.
Okay.
Make them work a program like. Just make them work like the Guerreros and the World's Greatest Tag Team back in the day when they were working that feud.
And that's what
great
they're
matches.
doing.
Have them do, but it's not. It's like they have a match together in like an 8-man tag, and one gets the best on the other, or
but it's an 8-man.
An 8-man tag match. Like they never have a program where those two tag teams are working together.
What I'm saying is, SmackDown is willing to take the long road on feuds. How much do you want to bet that's been the plan from the beginning for Mania, and they're just building time for it? Again, SmackDown, I have a little more faith than Raw to kind of see the pro wrestling side of things, and to be very patient with builds, and to give you the teases you need to anticipate certain things. Raw just kind of throws brands at each other until one brand is more famous than the other.
That's true.
SmackDown, I think that's where they're building, because from remember the tournament to crown the first tag team champions? The Usos were out of the tournament, but then they came back, and then Alpha was eliminated.
And they took out American Alpha.
And
made American Alpha look weak and pathetic.
How much you want to bet?
Every single step of the way.
How much you want to bet that the
American Alpha's never gotten their comeuppance against that?
How much you want to bet that the culmination of this is Alpha, Usos, WrestleMania, Alpha wins
for a title? I want a title feud with those two teams.
For a title.
Even before during the draft, I said that American Alpha and Good Guy Usos will be a good feud.
My faith in their storytelling and their kind of episodic logic goes NXT, wherever 209 will be, SmackDown, and then Raw.
Because lo and behold, you put on Vince McMahon has talked before about how 90 minutes is the perfect length for a wrestling show.
Without commercials?
Like historically, he has made
2 hours.
And so no wonder SmackDown is so good and Raw is so, it's got its high points and stuff, but consistently it's fairly terrible. And that's not really a surprise because they try and shove too much stuff in there in 3 hours. But anyway,
they'll never go. They're never going to go back unless they absolutely have to.
No.
And I don't think they will. Even if let's put it this way, even if USA or Universal made them go back, they would put the first hour on the network.
Maybe, yeah,
because
probably.
it's kind of like the whole thing. Like Major League Baseball will never, like we say, 162 games is too much.
Yep.
Or whatever. They'll never take away games. They're never going to go back. Because it's more advertising space. It's more time. It's more games where people in your stadium. They're never going to go backwards.
Right. So the main singles, the men match, like we started to say, I kind of thought it went on a little too long, but it was really, really good. I'm kind of in the camp though that I'm kind of in the camp that I never ever want to see Shane McMahon wrestle ever again.
It's over. It's over.
I think it's over.
It's over.
He was potatoing people left and right the entire time, and then he got knocked the fuck out.
One hit he took was brutal.
He has nothing.
To the point his age, it was like he has kids. He has fucking kids.
Yeah, and Randy Orton had to go over them and
sorry, but like he has children, and they saw that.
I was in this camp after WrestleMania. I don't want to see him fight Lesnar at Mania, which was the plan at one point.
He has nothing left to prove.
I don't want to see him do a single fucking thing in the ring ever again unless it's talking.
It's over. It was fun. It's done.
Are you saying you don't want to see him do anything in the ring because you're generally concerned for him?
Yes. I don't think
everyone else he works with.
Yeah, I think he's a danger to himself and to his family and to
everyone else in the ring.
Yes.
As much the argument. But what if he works with someone really safe? Remember that time he worked with Kurt Angle, arguably considered one of the safest guys to work with, and he couldn't throw him through a glass plane 3 or 4 times.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter how safe the guy you're working with. At some point, some spots are playing that are dangerous.
It's not worth it anymore.
That like weird, crazy spear Roman Reigns spot, he looked dead. Like his head, his eyes.
They stopped the count because they knew something was up.
Yeah,
he's done.
Randy Orton had to run over to his kids to be like, he's fine.
Yeah, that was the big thing was that he had to run over to Randy Orton, consoled his wife and son, and said he's good, he's all right.
No more, I'm good. Like I never wanted this, and it didn't make
know,
sense anyway. I already said like you should just put John Cena in that thing.
Do we know what the injury was? Like, did he get knocked out? Did
he got his bell rung.
Did he get the wind knocked out of him?
They just won't tell you.
He got his bell rung, and they tiptoed around it on SmackDown this week.
Of course.
I'm going to assume it's a concussion that they won't say by name.
Shane has nothing to prove. I think he cemented his spot in my mind as a Hall of Famer, as a performer.
He cemented
There's
his
no
spot.
reason why he needs to change anything.
What was it, King of the Ring 99?
Oh, he already said, he's already been the great.
2001?
Yeah.
Who cares?
No,
you
we don't need to.
But his personality is the same as his dad's. He wants to go out there and he wants to prove himself and be like to prove to himself and to everyone else that he's one of the guys.
Yeah.
I can do this. You can't tell me I can't. And I will go out there and do what I can do and be better than it. That's the McMahon mindset.
It's not even
I'm going to go out there and be the best.
It's a very legacy kid. Like, I'm sure, because I get that way.
Yeah, but it's
sometimes.
legacy
Like,
kid in a whole nother meaning.
You want to prove, like, you feel walking around that there's got to be someone there who's just like, oh, look at this guy. And you're like, no, I can do what you do. Watch me prove what I can do.
He's Vince's kid. Vince wanted to be a wrestler. Vince always wanted to be a wrestler. His dad didn't want him to be.
There's always that instinct that says
it's in their blood.
There's always that instinct that says you're not authentic enough, and you go, yes, I am. Watch me prove it. And it's like, no, you're done. You have children.
Shane absolutely has proved it.
You have children. Take care of them. No more injuries.
It's not worth it
Let
anymore.
Daniel Bryan be a little on-screen figure, whatever.
Right.
It's TV. It's not that important.
Right.
No, I mean, as a whole, Shane. I'm glad Shane is done. Shane can stop now. I think it's over. But you never know. It's Shane McMahon. They brought him back.
I'm going to be legitimately pissed if I see him doing something.
I'm not going to be pissed. I mean, I'll be entertained because he's entertaining. I don't want to see anyone get hurt.
I'll be concerned.
It could be him or anyone else. We don't want to see anyone get hurt. But that's not why we watch this. We watch it to be entertained, not to see people get hurt. However, if Shane works again, I'm not going to complain because he's amazing at what he does.
Yeah, but he's
For
not
who
though.
he is.
He's not though. He proved it in this last match. He's not great at what he does.
He's
anymore.
a great entertainer.
Okay, but if he's a danger to people when he's working, I don't. Yeah, like it's not worth it.
He's only.
It's just not worth it.
He's banged himself up.
Yes.
Has he hurt? Well, what about Mick Foley?
Mick
Foley made a career out of concussing and hurting himself.
Do you realize how sad I get when you look at Mick and you see the effects
Yeah,
of like,
you know that Mick is absolutely wearing the effects.
He forgot his lines because
there's always those little moments where Mick slows down because you know that he's kind of lost in his
brain
line.
is hurt,
and that's because of
that hurts,
what he's gone through.
It kills me, and I just go home. You don't need this anymore.
That's why, like I mean, guys like Mick Foley and Shane McMahon are the guys who will do whatever they got to do to put something over and make something look convincing.
I respect the football player who says, "Put me back in, coach, because I'm a man."
That's
and I
exactly
win.
what Shane is.
I also doubly respect.
He was never a wrestler to begin with.
I respect.
Can we say that now, though?
Shane McMahon is not a wrestler.
Over the course since 1998, since his match with Test, all the way through this now.
Shane McMahon has been
through
in
the match with
matches. He is
Steve
not a
Blackman,
wrestler.
through the matches with this and that. He's had. I mean, he's a worker. He's a wrestler. Come on.
If it'll make Shane stop, I'll tell him, fine, you're a wrestler. I respect the athlete who wants to go back in because I'm not hurt, coach. I doubly respect the corporation that says, I'm looking at your eyes. They're rolling in the back of your head. You've heard enough. We got what we need from you. You're done.
Yeah.
He's 45.
And they're not going to do that because
he's
he's the son of the owner.
Right.
But at the end of the day, I mean, God,
it's in his blood, though. He obviously likes performing.
You saw that Reign spear? It's over. It's done. Like, he's over. It's done.
Shane obviously likes performing. He obviously wants to be a part of this still. He wouldn't have came back and done this if he didn't have it in his blood that he wants to be a part of it.
Who was the, like, in the SmackDown, like, in the kayfabe, in the storyline, who did Shane replace?
Baron Corbin, who actually ran in the middle of the Kalisto match.
Can we just say Baron Corbin needs to shave his goddamn head? His hairline is receding. It looks awful. He has a terrible look. He's got to shave it. He used
to look like me.
Yeah.
Shave his head, grow his beard. He looks awful.
Jay, you're wrong because then he would look like me. Do I look threatening?
You are very scary to me.
I'm scared of you right
No,
now.
you're not. No, that's a lie.
The more LaRue I drink, the more threatening you look, sir.
The more LaRue you drink, the more money I could get from you before the end of the night.
Right.
No, I'm done with Baron Corbin. He looks stupid. I don't believe it.
So that whole Survivor Series match ended with Bray and Orton which is interesting. Like Bray won a major match on a pay-per-view.
Do you think maybe? Like now, I'm starting to worry about all right, Rumble's a road to Mania. Orton and Wyatt won that match. I'm assuming for a video package for a reason, so they could say something. Is that what Randy's up to now?
Oh, you think Orton and
WrestleMania?
Bray Wyatt is the
Orton and Wyatt? Really?
Maybe. I don't know.
Okay.
For a while,
that is a great big shrug emoji. That is okay.
For a while, they were talking about Orton and Undertaker. So like.
Well, they already did that though.
Yeah.
All right. So okay, my attitude towards that.
I think they're doing Cena and Undertaker. I don't know.
About time. My attitude, if it's WrestleMania Orton versus Wyatt, my attitude is a great big shrug emoji. Sure. That sounds like a WrestleMania.
Are we predicting?
That sounds like a WrestleMania match. Why not?
Sorry, I'm late. I was putting Coca-Cola in my blackberry brandy.
Yeah, it tastes bad, but not as bad as I thought it would be.
But it's not good.
They did. They did a Shield reunion during the middle of that thing.
Loved it.
And Dean Ambrose was sort of punished.
I called that out. I predicted that one.
Ambrose was sort of punished on SmackDown this week because of him costing SmackDown's, SmackDown won in spite of that.
Dean Ambrose.
SmackDown
They gave him the
guys.
They gave Dean the night off, and I marked out when he dressed as the Mountie. Just saying.
Yeah.
Well, you would.
Don't you want to know why I was just like the Mountie? Because the Mountie always gets his man.
Correct.
I lost it.
So SmackDown won that whole thing, and no, I think we need to finish up here. We've been doing this for way too long. No.
We don't have to hit any advertisements. We don't have to pretend to advertise for.
No.
Hey guys, Sarah Sarah is here.
Okay. Hey Sarah.
Hello all. How are we tonight?
Sounds good.
Okay.
Sounds good. Looks good.
I got the ladies on my arm tonight.
This wristwatch costs more than your house.
Say something.
What are we doing?
I'm Ric Flair, and I have a lot of money on my wristwatch.
God, get out of here. What do I pay you for?
Okay.
Go away.
So I think we've covered everything major from that weekend, and I don't really remember much from Raw or SmackDown this week as far as.
Really, there's no. Other than that
we already talked about.
Because remember, my big prediction was that they were going to tease the breakup of Jericho.
Yeah, because Jericho.
No, and then they hugged it out.
And they brilliantly hugged it out.
They blamed Roman and they hugged it out.
Roman Reigns.
Right.
That was great.
That was
I saw that. I saw a clip of that. And I was like, that is funny.
Owens used the list as a weapon in the.
Loved it.
Survivor Series match.
Will we ever see a list on a pole match?
No.
The list on a pole match?
We won't.
Come
no.
on.
I probably not.
All right. So I think that'll about do it for us this week since we got to.
We got some people. We got to go mingle.
We have to go mingle.
We got to go mingle. We got a full house here tonight, boys.
It's a Thanksgiving thing, but it's also a Christmas thing, right? Got the tree up, the lights are up, the jingle jangles are up, the jingle bells. Merry Christmas to everyone out there, one and all. Be good to your fellow man. We're gonna go mingle. It's gonna be fun.
Go party. Let's go.
And
find the people who love you and mingle.
And on that note, that'll do it for us this week. So thanks for tuning into the Gimmick Table. We appreciate your listens and your interest in what we're doing. We'll be back next week with more stuff. You can find us on Facebook at Gimmick Table, at the Gimmick Table. You can find us on Twitter at Gimmick Table Pod. You can email us at gimmicktablepod@gmail.com. So that's it for us. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody, and we'll be, like I said, we'll be back next week. So tune in, and we'll meet you there.
Join us here, won't you?
I don't like you, Goldberg.
Read a book.
We bid you toodles.
No, seriously.
Boo, Ryan.